Hey, y'all, it's Brian, the Tattooed Worm Guy. I would go ahead and check the progress of the Worm Factory 360. So the wife's informed me that she's got some heirloom tomato seeds that her dad had given her. She's wanting to try to get those to sprout. Wants to use some of the worm compost to start those in. So I'll go ahead and start the process of trying to harvest some of that compost, and we'll kind of go through that. Let's just take a quick look at the cabbage leaves and stuff that I put in here last week, and we'll see how they're going, and then I'll show you how to harvest that compost. All right, so here we got the worm factory. In the last video, I put these a couple of these cabbage heads in here that wife decided wasn't edible out of the garden. Actually, earlier today, I added some coffee grounds and these mushrooms. Worms are up in here. They're not quite all up in here as much as I'd like them to be, but they're making their way up here. You can see the droppings stuff here where they're kind of making their way around the cabbage here and there. They're kind of been bunched up in parts of it. Not a whole lot of activity, but I think this will help. So what we're going to do, I've got 3 trays. This is the top tray right now. I'm going to take the first tray that we ever put on the factory and move it to the top and set it on top of this. And like I said, what that's going to do, the worms will try to get away from the light and they're going to start burrowing down. Of course, the bottom of the trays have like a grate in them. Eventually, they'll work themselves through the bottom of the tray and into this tray. And that'll actually help us out on this because that'll give us some more worms in this tray that we're trying to process at the moment. So let's get to work on that. All right, so here's the bottom tray. This is the very first tray we put in the Worm Factory 360. Kind of stirred it up a little bit with the rake, just see what I had going on in here as far as worm activity. As you can see, there's worms here at the top. Basically, I'm just going to leave this setting for right now. You see we got worms still up here at the top. Instead of putting my lid on it, or I just keep a piece of cardboard on it because my lid's a little bit warped. But I'm going to leave that open for right now. And like I said, the light will drive these worms. You can already see how they're trying to burrow into the soil. They don't like the light. So I'm going to come back here maybe in an hour or so. I'm just going to use my scraper, scrape a little bit of this off. I've still got my my fiber or cloth bag from Uncle Jim's Worm Farm where I bought the worms. I think it's big enough to hold the compost that I've got ready to harvest for right now. I'll try to take some pictures along the way, so if I can't make like a little slideshow of it or something and show you the progress. But like I said, they go down pretty quick. They've already pretty much vacated this top layer, so kind of disturb them, get them riled up, let them want to get out of here. So we'll just keep a check on it. See y'all later. All right, so I got the compost out of the worm factory. Quickly realized that my little bag that I had wasn't going to be near enough. I actually didn't realize the bin held that much. Ended up taking a bucket, drilling about 1/8 inch holes, about every inch and a half all the way around it. Got a lid for the bucket. And then what I've done is just put my compost in there, keeping it covered with a brown paper bag. You can use newspaper or something like that. It's been in here several days. I've been several days since I actually got this out and put it in the bucket. My my light on my camera or my phone had went dead, so I charged it up and just hadn't made it back down here for the last few days. So I think it was it's Friday now, and it was Saturday when I put this in here and sprayed it with a little bit of water, and it's still moist. So you're gonna want to do something like that, because this compost is actually alive, so to speak. It's still got bacteria and other things in it that you don't want to let it get too dry and dry out. You also don't want to just let it get so wet that it molds and mildews. But and you're probably started to say you're probably not gonna figure out that you had some worms in it still, and sure enough, there's one that I missed. So it's not really that big of a deal. You're probably gonna miss some. You're probably gonna kill some if you were using a scraper like I did. I'm sure I cut a couple of them in half when I was getting it out, but you're not gonna get a whole lot of them. It's probably nothing to worry about. So, but that's some good compost. I don't know how well you can see that or not, but it's gonna work out pretty good for the wife's tomato seeds. So, she gets those things planted. I'll try to give you an update on how those are going. Until then, if you got any questions or comments, just email me at tattooedwormguy@gmail.com. Like and subscribe to the page. I appreciate it, y'all.